Kyle, the Death Knight of Anime here, bringing you my review for One Piece episode 829. And right off the bat, I gotta say, not even the first minute into the episode, and I already face palmed at Luffy's comment about how he was gonna make a big, grand entrance and make it big and grand. And I was just sitting here going, really, Luffy? This is Big Mom. You know, the big bitch that will snap you like a twig. And that's really all you're worried about right now? You're worried about making a big grand entrance, and you're not even thinking as what Big Mom will do to you once you actually smash that fucking fucking picture. Are you serious with me? Like okay, I want to believe that a certain part of Luffy is taking this seriously, but at the same time, I think I think his whole part of me also thinks his whole part of me thinks his basically whole jovial nature about this whole situation is almost hinting at the fact that he's taking Big Mom a little too lightly. Like it almost feels like Luffy is underestimating Big Mom, but I mean, I guess part of it is that I guess part of it his role is being the distraction. So I can't blame him for having a little fun with it, but at the same time, it's Big fucking Mom, Luffy. You need to actually take this shit seriously. You can't just be, willy nilly. I'm gonna do this shit because it's fun. No, like seriously, bro, take a little seriousness from this for right now. Like, yeah, but yeah, and okay. And I think I'll just say this: compared to usual, this episode actually added very little anime only content. But the one scene it did of the scene of from which Sanji and I think I'm pretty sure it was Montator of him questioning Sanji was just amazing, because I feel that scene, it had everything I'd want from a scene like that in One Piece. Like, it had suspense, it had tension, it even had a bit of intrigue to it all, accompanied by an amazing score, as was Sanji's brilliant acting. Like, I don't think I've ever said this before in the past, but Sanji's acting is like, it is spot on. I never believed for, like, honestly, I thoroughly believed every, like, even though I was well aware of what Sanji is, of course, on the side of the Straw Hats, and he's only doing this as a ploy. Like, even being well aware of where Sanji's loyalties lie, I fully believed every single word he's saying. Yeah, Sanji, if being a cook didn't end up working out for you as a career goal, you definitely had a backup as an actor. Like, seriously, bro, that shit was actually chilling. Yeah, and I feel that this episode played into another interesting and I think. And I feel that the whole scene also played into an interesting aspect of this episode, which was the pacing, because, like, okay, very little happened in this episode, and yet the episode itself almost felt like it zoomed by. And I think part of that is that Oda does seem to be reaching the end of this arc in the manga, and and I'm not gonna make too many assumptions because I know previews can be misleading, but just from me watching pretty much the preview, it looks like the next episode is where shit is really gonna start hitting the fan. When it is really gonna start hitting the fan, like I said, I don't want to make too many assumptions, because I know that those previews can definitely be misleading. I've encountered a few episodes like that where pretty much the episode where the preview does show something epic going on, and it's only part of the episode. So again, I don't want to make too many misleadings, but it does kind of give me hope that next episode is where shit is really going to start hitting the fan. So I'm actually really kind of hyped for the next episode when it drops next week. Like, yeah, like when we're getting, like, honestly, not pretty much now. I think what it is now that all the build up's been handled with, I think we're now getting into the real meat of this arc now. So yeah, I think we can safely assume that, yeah, we're getting into some good shit now. And one thing I liked about the second half of this episode, one thing I like about the second half of this episode is that it was if like about this episode, but if you think about it, it was also kind of creepy. Is how calm and whimsical everything was with basically all the towns celebrating the day of the wedding, and just everything about the second half. It just had a very calm and and almost and jovial aspect to it. And in reality, this if you look at it in a certain way, like even though everything is upbeat and calm, like this could really be interpreted as the calm before the inevitable shitstorm that's about to happen, that was to come. And like, and the big thing for me in this is I don't know how to feel about Peckham's whole stance on what's going on. I mean, on one hand, I commend his loyalty to Big Mom, and he probably keeps it up to protect Zoe. But on the other hand, you can only go so far before saying enough is enough. Like I'm really hoping that that we actually get a moment. Pretty much, I'm hoping we get a moment that is in this arc where Peckham's just says, "Okay, I'm gonna squash the bullshit. I'm not. I'm gonna say, you know what? I'm gonna actually help the fucking Straw Hats get out of this alive." Like seriously, I want Peckham's to have that moment where he says, "Okay, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop being completely and utterly Big Mom's bitch, and I'm gonna stop being Big Mom's loyal bottom bitch, and just actually and go against it for once." Because like even Praline, who we'll get to her in a moment, pretty much Praline, one of Big Mom's daughters, is basically going against Big Mom too. So it's like how like I want to see. I want to see Peckham's, who isn't even part of Big Mom's family, actually kind of like, yeah, say, okay, yeah, I'm going to go against Big Mom. So, yeah, I'm hoping we get that soon. And so we see in a flashback of Jinbei talking with the Sun Pirates. So after that, we get a flashback of Jinbei talking with the Sun Pirates, and we learn a little bit more about the Death Roulette, which is that the numbers on it don't just represent the amount of life force she takes away from you, but also how many of his comrades that of Jinbei's comrades that Big Mom would have killed, which sounds pretty standard when talking about Big Mom at this point. But this also shows that in terms of what Jinbei's doing, in terms of what Jinbei's been planning up to this point, it really shows that what he's doing is an all or nothing gamble. He pretty much it's pretty much one of those I either go big or I go home kind of things. So he pretty much has a lot on the line and a lot to sacrifice here, and that was the reason as to pretty much why he pretty much is to why he in that scene he pretty much disbanded the Sun. He disbanded the Sun Pirates. He said like, yeah, I'm cutting ties with you guys because I don't want Big Mom to slaughter all of you. But and yeah, it really shows that Jinbei he's really putting his own fucking life on the line right now. And I mean, I don't want to believe that Oda would kill him, but at the same time, it almost seems like it's kind of going in that direction almost. But and another thing that's interesting too is, and I never really noticed this in the manga, but for some reason it did make itself a lot more obvious, and I think it's just because there was there was spoke, and I think it was just because of the voice acting that kind of helped it out for me, which is that to me, Aladdin is lying through his teeth, like is lying through his teeth about leaving. Like honestly, I'm fairly certain that Aladdin and the Sun Pirates, they pretty much are not going back to. They are not going back to. They're not going back to Fishman Island. I'm almost certain that they are going to appear in the climax of the arc. Like they are definitely They're not done. They are definitely going to be a big major player that's going to help the Straw Hats in the end. I'm almost certain of that. Um, and so, and aside from that, we also among Jinbei's crew we meet the 21st daughter of Big Mom, who is pretty much Charlotte Praline, who Aladdin married for the alliance, and she's a fishman. Oh boy, you do know what this means, right? That Charlotte Praline is a fishman. She's a member of the Charlotte family, and she's also a fishman. You know what this means, right? Big Mom fucked a fishman. Fishman, like, yeah, I don't even know how to respond to that. It's like each new story element of this arc just reveals something more and more disturbing and depraved about Big Mom. And I know there have been interspecies relationships before in the series, especially with Fishman, but you really got to think about it. How did a fishman get up in there? Like, how did a fishman just get up in? It's so disturbing to think of a fishman impregnating Big Mom for some reason. I don't know why, but it is. Oh, it's Big Mom, for God's sakes. Like, who? That had to be like some kind of, that had to be like an order from her. That had to be an order from like the top. That had to be an order from. That had to be like a royal decree of hers or something like that. I don't know. Oh boy! Actually, I'm starting to think that the majority of the children she's birthed have probably all been on royal decree. That each person get her, that one of each person from the kingdom get her pregnant or something like that. I don't know. It's it's fucked up. And I know it's, but yeah, like Big Mom, yeah, fuck off. And I know it's pretty obvious to say at this point, but seeing the Vince Smokes walk to the tea party just had me thinking, you poor bastards are in for a literal bloody reality. Like seriously, they're blissfully unaware that they're pretty much they're walking and talking about how they're gonna sign a treaty with Big Mom and how they're gonna be all they're gonna be all pals and whatnot. But you could see that scene as them. They're so blissfully unaware that they're literally walking to their execution. The only thing they're missing, honestly, is the handcuffs. And like, I only hope Reiju gets out of this alive, aside from the Strauss and Jinbei, because like I said, aside from all those, she's pretty much the only one I want to see who I think deserve. She's the only one of the Vince Smokes who I think deserves to survive all this. But but yeah, guys, that's my review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter and Facebook. Death Night of Anime, signing off. Later, guys.